Thanks, Chris. Morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. It's Wednesday, halfway through our camp meeting experience. Are you glad that you're here this year? Good. I'm glad that you're here too. I've been surprised that we have at the end of May, right, that we have so many people here at camp meeting, and I'm glad so many people are here enjoying the spiritual blessing that the conference has organized and planned for everybody. And I'm glad you're here this morning. I make a promise to myself I never keep before I come here every morning, and it's like, Lionel, you're going to slow down and not give so much information. But I get so excited and want you to know it all that I give too much content. Today I'm going to try to slow down, if it's possible, and try to give some of the highlights of the most important things. I'm glad Chris is showing the DVDs in the afternoon for those who are interested in learning more, because you get to see things I can't go over, and maybe some things I go over very quickly. You get to see that again in the video at a slower pace, maybe. And thank you, Frank, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This afternoon, the videos will be on activity and nutrition, and we have Dr. George Guthrie, who's he'll be on the video teaching activity, and in my opinion, we have a lot of gifted physicians in this denomination. He is one of the most gifted. His expertise is lifestyle medicine, and we're privileged to have him at Florida Hospital on our team, leading out with residents. He has a lead role when it comes to diabetes and its research and helping people there. But he's teaching the one on activity this afternoon, and I can't think of a better person to get that information from than him. And then for the nutrition component, we have one of our physicians in Texas who has her own TV show over there. She actually is going to go deeper into the nutrition component. So if you're interested, please go and see those videos. I think you'll enjoy them. Today we're going to cover activity and nutrition. Tomorrow, we're going to cover trusting God in interpersonal relationships. Friday, reserving the whole time for Outlook. It is, in my opinion, the most important one of the 8 principles. So I want to make sure I have the time. I don't have to rush to really present that to you, because there's some research you're going to see that's just going to blow your mind. It did mine, still does every time I teach it. That's how, revolutionary it is to me. Okay, so let's get into activity today. When we're talking about activity, what most people think is we're talking about physical exercise. We're going to talk some on physical exercise, but equally important to physical activity is mental activity. And there is an interesting connection between physical activity and its effect on the brain. We actually have a new series coming out. I don't have the information to share with you today, but I've been sitting on a committee that's been reviewing this content, and there's some very exciting research on brain health that we'll begin publishing next year in 2013. We've been writing for these last 2 years now a 3-year small group curriculum on creation health. So what that's going to look like is you'll have 8 to 12 studies, small group studies, on each of these 8 principles. So you could keep going for 3 years. And I've seen the content for activity, and it's just fascinating. So that will be printed in 2013, and I think will be available beginning second quarter of 2013. So stay tuned. There is some updated information. But we're talking about mental and physical activity today. Helps if I could see. There we go. I'd like to start with just by emphasizing a fit mind promotes a fit body, and a fit body promotes a fit mind. So when it comes to activity, please keep in mind we're talking about the mental as well. Guthrie's going to go into that in great detail. But I want to share with you, the physical activity of the body affects the mental, the strength of the mind. Physical activity actually reduces losses of density in the brain. If you're inactive, then I guess you could say your brain is at risk for losing some of its volume. It's going to be weakened. I don't want to say it's going to dwarf, but it could get smaller. And I'm not using clinical terms, but physical activity will actually help reduce losses of density in the brain. Physical activity, we know, mental activity as well as physical activity, but especially mental activity, increases brain volume. And just 20 years ago, they didn't think this was possible. You could actually increase like increase the space of your brain, the volume of your brain, the size of your brain. What they're finding is, this was based on a study done with London taxi drivers. They gave them an MRI in this study, and they found that a portion of their brain was bigger, had more volume than the typical person, because what they were doing was, when they were driving around, taking people to different places, they were activating a certain part of their brain, they were strengthening their brain to the point where it was actually growing. New neural pathways were created, and scientists didn't think that was possible until they started doing these studies. So if you want to actually, you have control of increasing the power of your brain, and you can do that through a number of ways, through crossword puzzles and certain types of exercises like that. You can do it through memorizing scripture. You can do it through physical exercise. If you're doing nothing, if you don't do anything to challenge your brain mentally, if you do nothing to challenge your body physically, your brain is in a trend of weakening. Does that make sense? So if you want to be strong, if you want to be mentally sharp and strong, you've got to exercise this. It's a law of life. You've got to work it. And if all you have and all you can do is take the Bible out, memorize a verse every week, the memory verse we suggest in Sabbath school we memorize, that's a good step in the right direction. That'll strengthen your brain. Exercise, mental exercise, delays the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's. Anybody here have people they love who are battling Alzheimer's? Anybody here who would like to not have Alzheimer's in their life? One thing you can do to protect yourself is to exercise your brain. It could be by learning a new language. That's an excellent thing to try to do. Don't get frustrated. If nothing else, even if you don't learn the language to the degree that you want to, which I didn't particularly care enjoying Greek and Hebrew when I went to school, Frank, just that exercise will strengthen your brain. And it improves neural and cognitive functioning, mental exercise. All right, let's get into physical activity. We said the other day that it's estimated 250,000 people die each year as a result of lack of physical activity. When you add in poor nutrition, it goes to 400,000 deaths. Lack of physical activity impacts your diabetes, heart disease, depression. Depression is a big one. And it also impacts your immune system. Do you know this? Is this common sense? Okay, I need to know how fast I can go to get to the parts that maybe we don't know. This slide, I wish I could show to every Seventh-day Adventist church member in church around the world. You're looking at physical activity and longevity and the relative risk of mortality from these different things. Let's see over here. Of these 6 things, low fitness, smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, overweight, and high glucose, diabetes, which one of these puts you at the greatest risk for all causes of mortality? Low fitness. Low fitness. In fact, the research says, I'm just reading from the notes. It says researchers have learned that fit people with any combination of smoking, elevated blood pressure, or elevated cholesterol levels had lower death rates overall than low fit people with none of those problems. In other words, if a person smokes and has high blood pressure but is physically active, the odds of dying prematurely are lower than for someone who doesn't smoke and doesn't have high blood pressure but is inactive. So we as Seventh-day Adventist Christians need to be modeling this. We need to be active. It doesn't do any good to sit in our chairs behind our desks or behind the pulpit saying, you've got to stop smoking, you've got to stop drinking, you got to stop this and you can't do that, if we are not doing anything physically with our own bodies in the sense of being active and moving around. If you're not moving, if you're not actively challenging your body through walking or exercising, if you're not challenging your brain and you're telling the smokers and the drinkers and the drug addicts to stop doing what they're doing, well, if we're doing that, let me throw myself in the pool there. If we're doing that, then we're hypocrites. I don't think we've earned the right to tell them anything if we're not actually modeling all of these areas ourselves. So I want to challenge you today when it comes to physical fitness, although I think physical fitness and nutrition are probably, of the 8, I would rank them 7th and 8th in importance. They're all important. And I want to encourage you to do something. If all you can do is walk down to the end of the street and back, then do it. Do something. And I know it's hard to do something because people have arthritis. You know, my mother, I know they're in New York, and she has had problems with her hip and her spine for years and years and years. And she's found that she can ride a bike and do pretty good with it, you know, but she's going to do something. She's going to be 77 next year, I think. Dad's 79. All right, physical activity. Trying to think what I can get through here and not covering things I can cover. For the record, when they say never look at your watch, never look at a clock when you're speaking, that clock is not right. Unless it says 5 to 11, then we'll go with it. My watch is right, though. People, sedentary men and women, are generally twice as likely to be depressed as active people. Do you know anybody in your church? Do you have any friends? Do you have any family members who you suspect are dealing with depression? I mean, depression is a major disease in this country. Maybe instead of telling them what to do to get over it, perhaps you could find it in your schedule, even if it's some Sabbath afternoon, to go meet them and just go on a walk with them. Get them in the sunshine, out in the fresh air. Do something with them for 35, 45, 60 minutes. 60 minutes is really what you should be aiming for. And then you'll see what you're doing there when you do that. When you go alongside somebody and take them through that experience, you're actually creating an experience for them. And you're giving them, whether they know it or not, you're giving them a small victory, a small win. Something they can build upon. And so what if it took you 3 or 4 or 5 days over the course of a couple of months to go meet them and go walk with them or do something? You can do that. You see, people are sick of being told what they want is they want to be led. Okay, they respect that. They'll respond to that. So I'm encouraging myself, and I'm thinking of a couple people I can help out. I'm encouraging you to stop preaching and let's just get up as a loving family of God and mingle with people and take them on a journey that we know they'll bring greater happiness and strength and wellness in their life. I mean, you can go and walk for 30 minutes with a friend. You see, not only are you getting the physical benefit, but the other Christian principles are there's the interpersonal relationships benefit. Perhaps things could turn toward a spiritual nature. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can happen when you start ministering like Jesus did. Fact is, people who are active have a positive mood, higher self-esteem, more confidence, sharper thinking, improved psychological well-being, improved ability or resistance to stress, improved coping ability or resistance to stress. These are all the benefits of physical activity. Now let's talk about, when you watch the DVD this afternoon, Dr. Guthrie's going to go into a lot of information about the details. One thing he's not going to talk about, though, it's not on the DVD, is this. Interval training. We started talking about high-intensity interval training, I guess, 4 years ago. Now you're starting to see it in the fitness magazines. A lot of people are talking about it. All I want to say about this is this. There are a couple of groups of people in this room today. There are those who just want to be stronger and be healthy, functionally. There are those who want to take it to the next level. Maybe you're training for a triathlon. Maybe you're wanting to go in the direction of being more athletic. Depending on what your goal is, it's going to determine how you try to achieve it. So if all you want is to be stronger and well and healthier and reap the benefits we're talking about here, then all you have to do is exercise moderately. Moderately could be walking a mile, depending on your age, in 15 to 20 minutes. The best test for you, though, is if you're just going to moderate exercise is when you're moving at a pace where you can hold a conversation, but you kind of have to take a few breaths to keep talking, you know? So that's the type of exercise you want. Now, for those who want to become athletic, and I'm not a trainer, I'm not a doctor. It's on video, I'm not one of those. But I know this from the research and from my own experience as I'm getting back to being healthy again after a year's hiatus. If you want to achieve different goals, if you want to have a body fat for guys that's down to, 6 to 10%, or ladies, if you want a body fat that's down to maybe, 12 to 18%, if you're looking at those categories, then you're going to have to do more than moderate training. So I'm talking to you now. One thing you can do if you're time crunched, we're all time crunched, I know what that's like, is high-intensity interval training. And what they found is you can exercise all out for 30 seconds and then recover for 2 minutes to 4 minutes. And you repeat that cycle 6 times, and you're getting a world-class workout. There's a guy in Japan, Tabata, who actually discovered this back in the 90s. He trained Olympic athletes over there, and what he did was, you're not going to believe this. I want to make sure I get it right. Actually, I want to say something I skipped over here, then I'm going to go back to Tabata. Regarding this slide where we talked about depression, then we're going to go back to Tabata. You have to know this. A single session of physical activity can produce positive mental health results, such as anxiety reduction for 2 to 6 hours. So if you exercise, if you have a friend who's depressed or anxious and you can help them get moving and exercise, you're going to reduce those stresses in their life for up to 6 hours. And it says they put people through a study, and one group of people they treated in a psychiatrist's office where they were on the couch and counseling and therapy and on medicine, and the other group for 6 months, they had them go and just exercise, be physically active. And at the end of 6 months, they found that the people who were physically active had the same, if not greater results than the people who had been lying on the couch in therapy sessions and taking medication. So God's medicine in general, and I'm not saying there are people who shouldn't be on medication, there probably are some. But as a generality, if you have people who are pessimistic and negative and are depressed, get them moving. And they'll have vast, vast improvement, just as much usually as if they go to a doctor with therapy and take pills. Now let's talk about interval training. Tabata, what they found was in interval training, I'm talking to you guys who want to take it up to the next level, and I'm going to tell you maybe I'm going to show you how, for those of you who just want functional fitness can actually incorporate this into your moderate activity. But for those who want to go up a notch, which is where I am, trying to lose the weight I've gained and get healthy again, what they found in this study, I still can't believe it when I read it. Participants, they had 2 groups of people. In one group of people, the participants performed 6 training sessions over, these 2 groups performed 6 training sessions over 14 days. So 6 training sessions over 14 days. Each session consisted of either 4 to 6 repeats of 30 seconds all out of cycling with 4 minutes recovery. So in this one group, they would sprint as fast as they could on their bike, these athletes, for 30 seconds, and then they'd rest for 4 minutes. And they would do that 6 times. 30 seconds as fast as they could go on their bike, 4 minutes of rest. 30 seconds as fast as they could go, 4 minutes of rest. These athletes did that 6 times, and that was all that they did in that training session 6 times over 14 days. The other group, they rode 90 minutes to 120 minutes per session at a moderate pace. So at the end of 2 weeks, the group that did the high-intensity interval training had actually only exercised in total, when you include the rest periods, for 2.5 hours over 14 days. The group that rode for 90 minutes over 14 days, 6 sessions, their total training time was 10.5 hours for that endurance group. So for the high-intensity training people, their time spent in exercise was 90% less than the other group. But here's the thing. It says here, according to the research, both types of training induce similar improvements in these different things that they're talking about here. And it says that other studies have found improvements in performance and VO2 max through incorporating intervals. The point they're making is the group that did it for 2.5 hours had the same results as the group that had exercised for 10.5 hours. So if you don't have a lot of time and you want to see some results and see them quickly, do high intensity interval training. So if you like to jog, try jogging 30 seconds as fast as you can, then rest for 2 to 4 minutes. Get your heart rate to come down. If you like to swim, swim hard for 30 seconds and then rest. If you like plyometrics, do push-ups and squats. If you're into that, you know what I'm talking about. Go all out for 30 seconds and then rest 2 to 4 minutes. Do that 6 times and you're going to be getting somewhere. If you really want to take it to the next level, for those of you who want to be more athletic, you can actually reverse it. You can go all out, and this is the program I'm on right now. You can go all out for 3 minutes, rest 30 seconds, or until your heart comes down to where it's safe. Go all out for 3 minutes and then rest 30 seconds. See, kind of reverse it. See what I'm trying to say? That's for those of you who want to, you know, get into beach body shape, I guess they would say. For the rest of the people who just want to be healthy and strong, what you could do is this. This is what I tell my parents, and they know this, but say you live on a street that has street lamps or mailboxes. You know, you could say, I'm going to walk at a faster pace between this street lamp and the next, and then slow it down for 3 or 4 street lamps, right? Or a mailbox. You could walk fast, push yourself to the point that's safe, push yourself for maybe 3 mailboxes, and then slow down, recover for a minute or so, 2 minutes. But you've got to do something. And I'm here to tell you right now, in my opinion, and there might be people here who disagree with me, and that's fine, I think you've got to, it seems to me you've got to push yourself. Now, there are wellness benefits that come from just walking, maybe a 20-minute mile. You can actually lower your risk of coronary artery disease quite significantly just walking. But I think if you really want to get the benefits you're looking for, most people want to lose weight, they want to lose body fat, you're going to have to push it. But now my suggestion, and I'm not just saying this, you've got to listen to me and take this seriously. Before you start doing what I'm saying here, you need to go to your doctor. And you need to figure out where you are with your health. You need to figure out if you can handle pushing it. The way I see these days, people and the health that they have, I fear for them when they start to push it because I'm not sure that their heart can take it. You know what I'm saying? So go see your doctor. If he or she gives you the all clear, then start doing some of these things. If not, do what they say to get yourself to the point where your heart can take the strain and your lungs can take, you know, the strain. So check with the doctor first because this is not easy stuff. Yes, sir. Yep. Good for you. Yeah. Awesome. You 80 push-ups at one time? Wow. See? Yeah. Amen. Did you hear that? 79 and 77? Sorry, 76. I don't want to add a year there. So 79 and 76. And they look happy and well. I think you have less fine lines than I do. I'm proud of you. If they can do it, can you do it? Amen. Yes. No, don't feel guilty. No, you should be. If the doctor has cleared you and your heart's fine, your blood pressure's fine, you can do it. I don't know what other professionals are going to say, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a clinical person, but from what I can see in the research and my own experience, if you're not doing that, I don't think you're going to make the improvement you want to make when it comes to your health. The body is built, seems to me it's a spiritual law and a physical law, no matter where you are in this work, you've got to push it. You've got to challenge yourself. So don't feel guilty. You're 80, she has to stop and take breaths. Yes, ma'am. Perceived exertion. Keyword perceived. Yes. Yep. Yes. When you're resting, you're still moving forward, if you can. The workout I'm doing right now, I find myself, when I'm resting, lying on the floor trying to catch my breath. I've been working out for fairly seriously since 1989. I started out with he was an elder of my church in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The guy was in his 50s at the time. He's now in his 70s. And we do a push-up test, see how many push-ups you can do in a minute. And the highest I ever got back when I was that age was, I think, 44 or 50. This guy, at the end of 60 seconds, was on 70 and still going with not any hint of being tired. But he was also a black belt in one of the martial arts, Bondo, which there are 15 degrees of black belt, and it takes you a lifetime to quote-unquote master it. This guy wouldn't eat sugar. I mean, he was the epitome of health. But I've been training since then. Used to train basketball players. I don't know if you've heard of Dominique Wilkins. Used to play for the Atlanta Hawks. He used to train his brother. But the point is, I want to get back into shape. I've been training for a few years, and I'm doing this workout called Insanity. You might have seen it on TV. And I can handle it. I'm okay. My heart's fine. Lungs are fine. But I tell you what, when you've not done something for a while, and you've not been allowed to move for a while because of health, and you have, some of the people here have health issues, your health comes first. Be wise about this. Don't do something stupid. All right? I decided I want to get into shape as fast as I could. I want to lose some weight as fast as I can to get back down to where I feel good. And I tell you what, he's doing reverse intervals. It's 3 minutes of, polymetric exercises. You're doing push-ups and you're doing the squats and all those other things. And at the end of 3 minutes, I'm not moving. I'm not going forward. So move forward if you can. But if you can't, you're going to find yourself sometimes just standing there, sweat rolling off, and you're breathing. The point is, if I could give you any information, if I can encourage you at all, it's just try to push yourself. Not into a place that's unsafe, but challenge yourself. All right. Now, let's keep going. The idea is, I was looking for my glasses, and they're right here in my hand. Do swim, bike, run, row, whatever you do it and then rest. Do some, then rest. Do some, then rest. Do some, then rest. If you do that, you're going to be fine. Okay, benefits of strength training. Strength training, we should all be doing strength training, whether it's push-ups or squats or whether it's lifting some small weights at the gym. It increases your muscular strength, bone density, reduces arthritic pain. Many people don't exercise because they think their arthritis will just be worse. No, if you want to feel better, push through the pain during that little time where you're going to be uncomfortable and you're going to find relief on the other side. Don't have time to get into a lot of this. When it comes to strength training, the video will go into this, but if you're just wanting wellness, just basic fitness, go in, do a couple of sessions each week, 8 to 10 exercises, 8 to 10 repetitions of each. So if you're working your biceps, do 8 to 10. You know, if you're doing chest presses, 8 to 10. Just a couple of times a week with moderate weight will produce some good results. Now the thing is, we're in charge of the 10 leading biomarkers of aging. All of these things are within our control. These really trigger and ignite the aging process. And I just want you to think of this as a domino effect. When one gets weak and falls over, the others fall down behind them. And the one that's at the very top, these are in order, is your muscle mass. If you let your muscle mass go, the other ones go. So you need to do some kind of resistance training, whether it's push-ups or whether it's going to the gym or whether it's buying a pair of weights at Walmart or something, bring them home and do something. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you need to do something. Something simple. We can all get a pair of dumbbells and do this, even if the dumbbells are 3 pounds or 2 pounds when you're first starting out. If you're a guy and you've done it for a while, you know, you can do more than that. The thing is, though, don't stay at that level. If you have no strength right now, that's fine. If you start out and you can only do maybe 3 pounds, that's great. But, you know, a year from now, should you still be at 3 pounds? No. So push yourself. Push yourself. They took ladies, they put them through a year's worth of strength training. At the end of that year, they were 15 to 20 years more youthful. They were stronger than they were when they're younger, and they're 27% more active. You want to be younger? Want to look younger? Then start doing some strength training. Okay, I don't have time to go through some of these if we're going to finish on time. Let's review. 70% of our population is inactive, which is triggering stroke, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all those sorts of things. Why should we do it? It improves our body composition, our body fat, our weight, makes us look better. But it also increases our stamina, strength, flexibility is a big one. In my workout I'm doing now, 6 days a week, there are 10 minutes, 15 minutes altogether of stretching, which I'm finding I need a lot more as I age. Improved coordination, agility, balance. Balance and strength. You know what the #1 leading cause of death is among the elderly? You know, there's an event that triggers. The #1, falling. Elderly will fall, they'll trip on a rug, they'll break a hip, and then things go downhill from there. If you want to be strong and in control and independent of your life, then you want to work on your balance. You want to work on your strength so you're solid and stable. Activity decreases cholesterol, improves insulin uptake. Very, very, very important. Improves sleep. Improves psychological health, self-esteem. This should all make sense. What I would suggest, if you don't know where to start here. If you're just wanting to begin incorporating activity in your life, walk 30 minutes 3 times a week. If you walk 30 minutes 3 times a week, you're going to lower drastically your risk for coronary artery disease. If you don't know where to start there. 3 times a week. Now, if you want to take it to the next level and you're serious about this, You need to be exercising 30 to 60 minutes of moderate exercise 4 to 6 days a week. 30 to 60 minutes. Actually, the government now is saying, the different health agencies are saying you need 60 minutes 5 to 6 days a week. You know what? 60 minutes, that's, 2 repeats of Everybody Loves Raymond's or something like that. You know, it's worth taking the time to do it. Not easy. Hey, the last thing I want to do when my alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning is get my gym shorts on and my, shoes and go down and do that insanity workout. But I feel like $1 million when I'm done. And the days I don't get it done, I get it in the morning at 5:30, I get it done in the afternoon or before I go to bed. It's worth it. You know what? The only regret I have in my life is I had my son when I was 40 years old. He'll be 5 this summer. And I'm so stupid because I missed out on all of those years I could have had with him before. It's the only regret I have of losing years and years and years of life with him. And the only way I can get that back, I know eternity's coming and he'll be with Jesus and Jennifer and I will be as well. The only way I can get that time back, is to push myself and get fit so I can live to be 90, 95, 100 if Jesus doesn't come before then, right? So that's why I'm doing this. Not only because I want to feel well and be strong, but I want to be around to celebrate love with my son for decades to come. That's my reason. That's what my why is. I don't know what your why is, but that's mine. All right. Answers? Okay. We're going to go over the answers, and then I'm going to breeze through the other one, so you're going to want to see the video this afternoon. Answers in your activity outline. Exercising our body and brain slows the effects of aging. Exercising our body and brain slows the effects of aging. You don't grow old and stop exercising. You grow old because you stop exercising. So start each day. This is going to be in the video. I didn't cover it. Start each day with a healthy breakfast. Healthy breakfast. It's a must, absolute must. Dr. Guthrie will go into that in great detail. Food is healthiest the way God created it. Food is healthiest the way God created it. We'll see that in a minute. All of these are covered in the DVD. I didn't cover them in any of my slides. The brain needs glucose to function optimally. Glucose. If you want to add something else, it needs oxygen as well. The brain needs glucose and oxygen to function optimally. And the only way your brain's going to get oxygen is if you push your body and if you get outside and breathe. All right? Your brain's not going to function without those two things. That's why I'm against these low-carb diets or no-carb diets. There might be a place for athlete to have a rotation in there with low carbs, but if you're constantly on a low-carb diet, you're doing yourself a disservice. I have a screenwriter friend in L.A. He's a great guy. He has really no faith persuasion, and I've done some writing in the past, and that's how we met. And I was out there, we had dinner, I guess a couple of years ago when I saw him, and what he had for supper that night was bacon and pickles, because he's on a low-carb diet, just protein. I'm thinking, Chris, what are you doing, man? You got to write a 110-page screenplay, you got to fuel your brain, and you're eating bacon and pickles? You need a bowl of oatmeal and some fruit and some things like that your brain needs to be creative. Anyway. All right, those are the answers. That's all we have time for. Yes, sir. You know, they're going to be debating that until Jesus Christ comes, but the latest information that I can put on that is it's best to exercise with a little bit of something in your stomach, whether it's half a yogurt or a half a banana, because what's going to happen, they're saying, I have a tough time because I get sick to my stomach if I've eaten before exercise, but I try to get something in me now, even if it's a glass of milk. Or something. But what they're saying is if you don't eat something before your exercise, you're not going to have the energy and stamina to give it everything you have during your exercise session. So it's best to eat something. So, what? Brain needs oxygen and glucose. Oxygen and glucose. Oh, build a strong body and enjoy the benefits of strength training. Sorry, build a strong body and enjoy the benefits of strength training. Benefits of strength training. I just try to put an outline together that would make people kind of pay attention to the DVD. All right. I know there are personality types who are most comfortable when every single slide is covered, but I'm not sure we're going to have a chance to cover every single slide. But everything that I cover, whatever is not covered in the DVD, I'll cover here. But we'll go through this as effectively as we can, okay? You ready to concentrate really hard for the next 6 or 7 minutes? And we read about that the other day. What we're trying to do here when it comes to the Creation Health model is influence people to add positive things into their life, to their diet. We're not about telling people you have to stop doing that and you can't do that. That's not our approach. In fact, I've told people have told me, Lionel, we so much appreciate Creation Health because it doesn't tell us what we can't do. It tells us what we can do. So we need to be people that tells people what they can do instead of what they can't do. And what we try to encourage them to is to add positive things. Drink more water, eat breakfast, eat more fruits and vegetables, things like that. Fiber. Everybody needs fiber, up to 35 grams a day. Average person gets 10 to 15 grams. That's why people are having a problem with diabetes, because fiber slows down sugar absorption. You know, the uptake of the spike of sugar. Fiber prevents cancer. I don't have time to go over all this because there are 2 or 3 things I do want to focus on. Eat your fiber. And it's okay to supplement. People always ask, can I supplement with, you know, Metamucil or any of that stuff? Yes, supplement. You need your fiber. You need a healthy colon. World Health Organization says about 3 million people die each year because they have a lack, because they don't eat fruits and vegetables. Reduces the risk of stroke by 26%, eating your fruits and vegetables. I want to share this study. They did a study of 250,000 people in America, Europe, and Japan. So 250,000 people. And what they found was eating 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day reduces stroke by 26%. 250,000 people. So if you want to lower your risk of stroke, or if there's someone you love and you want to help lower their risk of stroke, get their vegetables and fruits in them. A good place to start is with cruciferous vegetables. These guys are the powerhouse of the vegetable family, in my opinion, because they detoxify the body. Some of these vegetables are collard greens, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, all that stuff. They did a research study with Chinese women in Singapore, a very polluted city. They had 2 groups. One group smoked, one group didn't smoke. And the research study wanted to see what effect, if any, these detoxifying cruciferous vegetables would have on their risk of lung cancer. So I don't know what cruciferous vegetables are over in Singapore, but they ate their version of cruciferous vegetables. Ours is broccoli and cabbage and stuff like that. During this study, what they found was for a woman who smoked, if she just ate cruciferous vegetables, she reduced her risk of lung cancer by 69%. For a non-smoking woman who ate cruciferous vegetables, she reduced her risk of lung cancer by 30%. And the reason why is they say that these vegetables have phytonutrients. They have compounds that signal the genes to increase the production of enzymes that are involved with detoxification. So if you want to detoxify your body, start eating broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. Reduce your risk of cancer. Significant. You'll reduce your risk of all these cancers: prostate, colon, lung, skin, all of them. So what's the serving size of vegetables? This is important because people think it's too much food when you say 5 servings. No, it's not. Look, a serving is 1/2 cup. That's nothing. Nothing. 1/2 cup can be 3/4 cup of vegetable juice. We can all eat a 1/2 cup of vegetables. I mean, it's nothing. Beans. They go into great detail of beans in the video. Just know that if you're going to add any food to your diet, and we're called bean eaters, so likely most of us eat beans here, this is a great place to start. I'm not going to go into beans because I think you know about beans. Grapes. Red grapes. The benefit of the grape is found in the grape itself and not in the alcohol. So if you want to lower your risk of heart attack, drink grape juice. Now, don't drink a lot of grape juice. I don't think fruit juice is a healthy food. I don't think there's any difference hardly drinking a glass of grape juice or fruit juice than there is taking a can of soft drink. When you look at the sugar content, it's horrible. So if you're diabetic, be careful with fruit juice. If you want to lower your risk of heart disease, heart attack, and you want to drink grape juice, drink it in moderation, maybe 6 ounces, not 16 ounces, you know? Juice is not as healthy as people think. Apples, this is what I really wanted to get to. They've done 85 studies on apples, and they found that apples reduce all of those risks: cancer, heart disease, asthma, type 2 diabetes, all those things. It says whole apple extracts have been shown to prevent breast cancer in test animals. They're richly endowed with phytonutrients and antioxidants, anti-cancer, protecting nutrients. So it says you can eat 1 or 2 apples a day to lower your risk of all of those cancers. And in fact, I didn't know this, but if you eat Braeburn apples, you are given a hefty dose of UV protection. There's something in that apple that protects you, gives you UV-B protection. So if you want to get protection against skin cancer, eat a Braeburn apple. My suggestion to you is this. I don't know how you feel about organic foods. We're switching to organic foods in my home. If you're going to eat apples and you eat 1 or 2 a day, they need to be organic, or you need to grow them yourselves, because what they're finding, it's one of the top 12 worst foods for carrying pesticides. And what they're finding out with apples too is now somehow the pesticides and chemicals are being drawn up through the root system. So even if you wash the apple, you're going to be getting it in the meat of the apple. So go organic. Eat an organic apple. If you're going to refuse to eat an organic apple, you got to leave the skin on. You need the skin. Wash it well, then cut the top off and cut the bottom off. You know where pesticides and stuff could pool. They can pool in the top where the stem is, and they can pool on the bottom. So cut those off if you're not going to eat organic. But you need to eat apples, man. Fruit, again, what's a serving? A serving is 1/2 cup of chopped or canned fruit. It's nothing. An apple is much more than 1/2 cup, isn't it? I mean, we can all get a serving of fruit. Easy. Almonds. So much good information here. 1/4 cup of almonds is a serving size, and just by eating almonds, you're fighting Alzheimer's, you're reducing your risk of heart attack, fighting hunger. What I do is I take a 1/4 cup of almonds, I put them in a Ziploc bag, and I keep them so I can race out the door with them. I don't have time to go into almonds. Nuts. I wanted to say something about this because nuts are a rich source of omega-3s. So maybe you don't need to take the fish oil. I have nothing against you taking fish oil if you want to take fish oil, eat your omega-3s. My family became vegetarian when I was 5, and this is not a moral statement. I'm just saying I can't stand the thought of taking fish oil. Nothing wrong with it. I just can't take it. So I'm glad to know I can get it in nuts. Powerful anti-inflammatory agent as well, which is going to help you with your risk of, heart attack. Prevents cancer, reverses or prevents depression, if you can imagine it, of all things. Almonds are great. That's the one we recommend, but you can't go wrong with almonds or walnuts. Walnuts have selenium in them, helps your brain. Almonds, walnuts, those are the 2 tops. Flax, well, we're going to talk about flax right here, right? Maybe, yeah, flax seeds. You want to be supplementing with flax because flax gives you all of these benefits. I mean, and just a tablespoon over your cereal or something, over time, you can gain these wellness benefits just from taking flaxseed, of all things. It needs to be ground. It needs to be ground, and you can't, and you should never, ever, 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 ever eat more than two tablespoons of flax. Because it gets to a point where it gets toxic to your system. So start off with 1 tablespoon, like the gentleman's saying, twice a day. Don't do any more than that. Flaxseed. Water. We have to talk about water. You can all start drinking more. I can drink more. It lowers 3 of the 4 most common types of cancer. It lowers colon cancer by 45% in women and 32% in men, and lowers breast cancer by 79% in postmenopausal women. Just drinking your water. There's a reason why. I don't know if I have it on the slide here. Well, yes, right here. What happens is your kidneys are brought in to help detoxify. Their role is to clean out the body. When you don't drink enough water, the liver's brought into it as well. And what happens is when you're dehydrated, the kidneys are not able to adequately do their job of cleaning out the toxins, so the liver is recruited. When the liver is recruited, liver is responsible for metabolizing your fat. So now you have a 1-2 punch against you. If you don't drink your water, your body's not getting detoxified like it ought to, which means your risk for cancer is going up. But the other thing is, you're going to have trouble losing weight. Because your liver, which is there to metabolize fat, now has to help detoxify the body, which it doesn't necessarily do a great job at. It's not its primary role, at least. But if you don't drink your water, it's being enlisted into helping detoxify the body, because that's the #1 priority of your body. And then 2, if it gets around to it, it'll help you metabolize your fat. So if you want to help lose weight, then drink your water. Okay, we have blown through this because we've had to, but I appreciate your attention, and there are some good questions. I think I can just finish this up really quickly. Just add good things to your diet. Here are some tips, easy tips. Keep an apple with you, some almonds. Drink your water. Drink more water than you think you ought to be drinking. Eat breakfast. And the important thing on this slide is the closer the food is to the way God made it, the better. I'm not endorsing raw food diet here. There are certain foods you can't get the nutrients out of them unless you cook them. All right? So be balanced. Use your brain. Don't be extreme. I do know, so that's all I'm going to say about that. I could say a lot more, but I'm not going to. Maximize whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, water intake. Moderate how much food you eat. Only eat till you're comfortably full, no more. Eat smaller portions. I'm not going to say frequent meals. I'm not on this bandwagon of frequent meals because I think that keeps your blood sugar spiked all day long. It's my opinion. Minimize animal protein, fat, processed food, sugar, salt, artificial sweeteners. Try to minimize that. And go with organic if you can afford to or if you can grow it. We've been saying this for years. Makes sense. Avoid alcohol, caffeine, and soda. I'm not militant about this. Soda, there's no moral issue about soft drink. If you want to have a soft drink every once in a while, that's fine. But in general, everybody's saying avoid these if at all possible. Well, Adventists are mainly saying the alcohol thing, but other people are saying these other things as well. In fact, in my program, Insanity workout I'm doing, they're saying don't drink any soda during the program. Okay, choose to enjoy the diet God originally gave in Eden, because that's what's going to help us live fully and be healthy and strong and happy, mentally and physically and everything else. Oh yeah, we have to do the answers. Let's finish up and then you can go eat. In your outline, fill your life with positive things, and there will not be room for negative things. Fill your life with positive things, there won't be room for negative things. The benefits of a high fiber diet: lower serum cholesterol concentrations. So the second blank is high fiber. High fiber. A vegetarian diet leads to the lowest risk of cancer. Vegetarian diet leads to the lowest risk of cancer. That's the third blank. And I've given you a summary there of the different types of foods in a vegetarian diet. Fourth blank, fruits and vegetables protect us from disease. Fruits and vegetables protect us from disease. If you're not eating fruits and vegetables, you're opening yourself up for a lot of illness and sickness and deteriorating health deterioration. Fifth blank, eat at least 5 servings of different colored fruits and vegetables a day. Eat at least 5 servings of different colored fruits and vegetables a day. A serving is usually a half a cup of something, or a small medium apple. You know, you get it. All right? The thing I want to encourage you with today is, we've talked about exercise, we've talked about nutrition. There are people here in this room, I know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, feel guilty about where they are in their life with regards to those two things. Don't feel guilty. Give yourself a break. Forgive yourself. This is about progress, not perfection. Jesus loves you. He's not going to love you anymore, whether you give up fish or you start eating fish, or if you eat 5 apples a day versus 1 apple a day. He loves you just the same. He just wants you to be healthy, happy, and strong. So give yourself a break and keep going forward, and you'll be just fine, okay? All right, let's pray quickly, and I'll get you out of here. Father in heaven, thank you so much for these principles you gave us. I mean, it's how you created us. Thank you for leading people to discover them and teach us so we can reclaim the kind of life that you intended back in Eden. So I pray your strength and wisdom upon every person here, that as we leave this place, that we'll start practicing some of these things and just feel so much better as a result of it. Thank you, Lord, for your grace and your presence. Bless our food now as we go eat. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. See you tomorrow. We're talking about trust and interpersonal relationships tomorrow.